So there have finally been some moves in Major League Baseball, and I can finally make a news video because it seems like this offseason has been particularly dry, a little bit slower, and I feel like it's also because it's one of the more normal off seasons that we've had in a while. No COVID. We have no lockout impending. No doom and gloom coming. So we're going to be talking about Jose Abreu and his new contract with the Houston Astros, Mike Clevinger signing a contract with the Chicago White Sox, and I guess I'll briefly talk about Justin Verlander having a meeting today with the Los Angeles Dodgers and the updates on Jacob deGrom news and info because those are still around. So let's start off with the big one here. Jose Abreu signing a 3-year, $60 million contract with the Houston Astros, and honestly, I mean, right off the rip, I think it's a good move. Now, I don't know if I am crazy about the length and the money that's being spent on Jose Abreu, but also at the same time, when you're talking about money, it depends on each team and each scenario, and for the Astros, they're pretty well under the luxury, I believe. So spending $20 million a year on Jose Abreu for the next 3, I mean, it's definitely not cheap. It's definitely not cheap. $20 million a year is a real contract, but Jose Abreu has looked really good, and he hasn't shown too many signs of slowing down just yet. Jose Abreu, if you guys have been around for the channel for a while now, is someone that I've always ranked pretty highly on my first baseman rankings. I think he is one of the more underrated hitters in the league. All he's ever done since he came from Cuba in 2014 is absolutely mash. I mean, this was the second season that he's had out of 9 where he didn't hit 20 or more homers and didn't drive in 100 runs because, I mean, outside of the 2020 season, which was also, by the way, the only other time he didn't hit 20 or more home runs, and was the second of 3 seasons he had less than 100 RBIs, but still led the league and won the MVP in the COVID season. He's just been really good. I mean, for his career, a .290 hitter with a .350 on base, .506 slugging, and an .860 OPS over 9 years, and the OPSs haven't really dropped too much. Like, yeah, he's 35, 36 years old. Relatively speaking, Jose Abreu has still continued to hit the ball extremely well at a really high rate. And we'll talk about the Baseball Savant numbers because these numbers don't lie. He was still mashing last year, and I think moving to Minute Maid is going to help him even more. If we're looking at Jose Abreu's percentile rankings on Savant, 93rd percentile in average exit velo, 89th in max exit velo, and that's the one that I think is a little bit more important just because you see how hard someone can hit the baseball at a given time. It's kind of like a test of true strength, and he's 89th percentile at 35 years old. That's great to see. Hard hit rate last year, 97th percentile. That's, chef's kiss. That's amazing. X-WOBA, 96. X-batting average, 98. X-slugging, 92. Barrel rate was pretty good still at 63% for a guy who's getting a little bit older, and as we know, with age, it does get a little bit harder to lift the ball. You can still hit the ball hard into the ground. We've seen Miguel Cabrera do it for the last few years, but getting the ball in the air gets a little bit more difficult. Haven't seen that really dip too much just yet. It's definitely not like the peak of his career, but he's still doing it well above average. Doesn't strike out, walked a lot last year, which I think was one of the best walk rates he's had in his career outside of 2021. He's just been walking more, which is huge for a guy like Jose Abreu, who that was kind of one of the knocks about him before was he didn't walk enough. Now he's walking close to 9%. That's fantastic, along with a K rate that was below 20% this year. Sick. Now, of course, he's a first baseman, honestly, more of a DH. He's getting older. The athleticism is fading, but the dude still absolutely mashes. And I said earlier, this was one of the only seasons that he's not hit 20 or more home runs, but if you took his season and you put him in Minute Maid last year, he actually would have finished with 22, which is among the highest. And one of the main reasons has to be because of those Crawford boxes. I think Jose Abreu is going to benefit a lot by playing at Minute Maid. Chicago is not by any means like a pitcher's ballpark. It's at best or at worst, I guess, for a hitter, like league average-ish. But Minute Maid is definitely a really good place for a right-handed power hitter to hit, especially if he pulls the ball. And as we've seen with Jose Abreu, he relatively pulls the ball. Hopefully he starts to pull it a little bit more, because then his power numbers and his home run numbers will probably get even better with the quality of contact that he has. I do have to bring up a tweet that I saw from Mike Petriello earlier today that does give you a little bit of insight of what could be scary about Jose Abreu, because as much as we like this move on the surface, you do have to take a deeper look. He is an aging first baseman for 3 years and $20 million. He's going to be with the Astros until he's, 38, essentially? Mike Petriello says this: love the Abreu fit for Houston. Not so sure about 3 years for ages 36 through 38. But he can still crush. 97th percentile and hard hit is excellent. So maybe it'll be a soft landing. This is the part that concerns me, though. Trouble versus velo incoming. Wouldn't be the first at his age. And then he shows a graph from Baseball Savant showing that he was not good against the four-seam last year. And how I mentioned with lifting the ball can be tough as you do get older. Also, velo is something that the older players typically have a little bit more a hard time catching up to, just because, again, your reactions are slower. You're not as quick as the young guys. So the fact that Jose Abreu by far had his worst season ever against the fastball in terms of run value is something to keep an eye out for. Do I think this means that he's done and he's dead? Absolutely not. I didn't watch a lot of White Sox games last year, so I would be crazy if I said that I knew that he was just getting unlucky or whatnot. But something to keep an eye on. And again, that's why Mike Petriello is one of the best in the game. Dude's so incredibly smart. Make sure you follow him on Twitter if you don't. One of my favorite baseball follows. Learned a lot from him. So really, at the end of the day, I like this move. The Astros definitely get an upgrade at first base. Right now, he is better than what would have been Yuli Gurriel or Trey Mancini. Jose Abreu has been one of the better first basemen in baseball for the last 10 years, basically. Good move. I think this is a good move. And again, 3 years, $60 million. That's probably where you feel weird about this, but Jose Abreu as a player, that's where you don't feel weird. That's where you know he's going to be good. And just another RBI machine to go into that insane Houston Astros lineup as they look to defend their World Series championship in 2023. What do you guys think about this move? Do you like it? Let me know in the comments below. I'm interested to see what you think. But we're not done there. That's right. We have a lot of moves to talk about. As I say sarcastically, we have to talk about Mike Clevinger, though, signing a deal with the White Sox, which is a little weird because the White Sox didn't want to pay Carlos Rodon all those years ago, and honestly, maybe he didn't want to go back either. I'm not sure. But they did sign Mike Clevinger to only a few less dollars than what a qualifying offer would have been on Rodon last year. From what I've been seeing, Mike Clevinger signed a one-year deal worth $12 million with the White Sox, and it was a weird season for Mike Clevinger, of course, coming off of injuries. Coming off of Tommy John, you always kind of don't really have your stuff unless you're Justin Verlander and you win the Cy Young coming off of Tommy John because you're a fine wine and you only get better with age. See, snuck it in a video. I think the Clevinger signing is fine. This is a guy who's going to give you some innings. I mean, even in his first year back, he threw 114 innings for the Padres last year. The White Sox definitely have had some issues with starting pitching consistency the last few. You can never have too many starting pitchers. And again, whether you think 1 year for $12 million is too much, I don't really care on 1 year deals that much, especially because $12 million probably shouldn't stop you from spending on anybody else. It's not a massive, massive contract by any means. I think it's fine. Like, he had a 4.3 ERA last year in 23 appearances, 22 starts, a whip at 1.19. His FIP wasn't great though. It was hovering right around 5, which was basically like a half run higher than what his ERA was. And the strikeout numbers were down, but it's kind of to be expected again for a guy coming back from Tommy John. There are some things that did look decent. He started throwing a sinker last year, so maybe he's making a move to try and become a little bit more pitch to contact oriented. I don't think by any means that this is like a massive move, and I probably don't need to break it down that much, but for the White Sox who are looking to probably add pitching depth, which is what I think this is, it's a fine move. It's a fine move. I really expected Mike Clevinger to stay out in California. I mean, the guy's nickname is Sunshine, right? Chicago doesn't really give off the sunshine vibes, but I mean, good for him. Good for him. Get paid. Get your money. I'm interested to see how he does with the White Sox this year. Again, I'd love to know what you guys think about this move in the comments as well. And then some quick little news things to just glance over real quick. Justin Verlander confirmed met with the Los Angeles Dodgers today. Could Los Angeles be a landing spot for the fine wine himself? I could see it. I could totally see it. I also would think that the Dodgers would probably be interested in Jacob deGrom as well, and Carlos Rodon, and all the pitchers and all the good players, because that's what the Dodgers do. They seemingly have unlimited money and unlimited funds, and they're trying to win an actual real World Series, which I think a guy like Justin Verlander could help them. It would be weird, I feel like, to see him in Los Angeles, but also at the same time, it makes sense. Justin Verlander's market is probably going to be relatively expensive. I know he said he wanted like a Max Scherzer-like contract, and as much as I wouldn't necessarily give him that, I can see why he thinks he deserves it. He just won the Cy Young, but I think it's really interesting to know that the Dodgers seem to be the first team out there publicly going after Justin Verlander, which makes sense. And Jacob deGrom news, there was an article, I don't remember who posted it. I think Ken Rosenthal spoke about it, then Pat Ragazzo spoke about it. There was a lot of people talking about it today. Was that the Rangers are more confident that they'll be able to sign Carlos Rodon instead of Jacob deGrom, and that it feels like the Mets should be the favorite to sign Jacob deGrom, which as a Mets fan, I'm happy. I want Jacob deGrom back just as much as the next guy. I also really didn't want him going to a division rival or another team in the National League. So if it was the Rangers, that would have been a choice I would have been okay with, especially if he got the bag. But I'd be happy to have Jacob deGrom back with the Mets. And for the Rangers, Carlos Rodon's a really good, I don't even want to say consolation prize, because he was one of the best pitchers in baseball last year and has looked really, really good. Whatever it is, I think they're going to be looking to make this team better right now, and they're in a really good spot with that good farm system. So for those of you who are Rangers fans, would you rather have Jacob deGrom or Carlos Rodon right now? I'd love to know what you're thinking in the comments below, which is also like the third time I've asked you guys to comment, which means it's about time to wrap up this video. So thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate you. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it, as well as subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the content coming at you this offseason. Follow me on all my social media at GiraffeNeckMarc. Links are in the description. And I know I said I was going to announce the giveaway winner today, but at the time of recording this, the giveaway has not ended yet, so I cannot announce someone, so it will come out in tomorrow's video. Thank you guys for watching. You know the drill from here on out. YouTube recommends you watch this video, and this is my most recent upload, so click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you all tomorrow for another video. Bye!